4 of Ball Month here on the Green Fee. We've had a lot of really fun things happen this month. We've talked about golf balls, the best golf ball for me, what I look for when I'm looking for a golf ball, and what you should be looking for when you're looking for a golf ball as well. And Ping really came out with this really cool AI-driven computer simulation where you put in your current golf ball, you answer a bunch of questions, and then they recommend the best golf ball for you. It was $40. I decided to pay for it, and let's see the results that it turns out for me. All right, so let's go through the Ballnamic fitting here. Handicap. 9 to 15, current ball. So I'm going to choose the winner so far of our test that I've really enjoyed. And with that, I'm going to go TaylorMade, TP5, year, it's 2021. So it asks for your zip code. You know, I prefer not giving that out. Just know I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth area. But it calculates everything for you, and it's got typical playing temperature, typical altitude. Those look right, so let's continue on. I know my launch conditions, ball speed, we'll say 133. Launch angle. Let's go back and kind of see what we're getting there. Here we go. Let's talk all this stuff right here. So this is going to be the driver launch conditions that I'm going to use in Ballnamic. So TP5, we had a ball speed of 133. Perfect. Nailed that. Okay. Launch was 17.7 with it. All right. So let's move that up here. We'll go with 17.5 just to play it safe. Spin rate. Spin rate was 2151, right? 2150. All right, so now it's height preference. Find your recommended driver height preference. If you prioritize driver carry, whatever it is. You know, I tend to play in some pretty windy conditions, so you can see here it says in firm or windy conditions. It's pretty warm here in Dallas-Fort Worth, down here in Texas. So let's calculate. Let's see what it says. It says my current driver height's 88.2. Recommended is 84.4. Recommends mid trajectory. So you know, I kind of like that. I'm not against that. You know, it does get windy, it does get a little firm here, so, but we'll take that. Wind performance with the driver, how important is the performance of the golf ball in windy conditions? Honestly, I usually am playing in some pretty windy conditions. That's probably why the Kirkland Signature, the old version, wasn't the best ball for me. So, let's move on and see what else it says. 7-iron details, 7-iron carry distance. When I hit it well, I know my launch condition, so let's take a look there. So let's go back to the TP5 conditions. TP5 is the bottom one, so we'll go 105, right? 105. Launch is 19.5. Which seems to be pretty mid. I kind of like that. Spin rate, though, it's not going to like this spin rate at 4,900. I promise you that much. It's going to tell me that's probably a bit too much. Or not enough. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. I like a steeper launch angle just because here in Texas, it's pretty firm, so I like it to come in a little bit steeper. So I'm actually going to go away from what they said and go, I want something a little bit steeper. Some workability is fine. I'm not huge on wanting to cut it or draw it. Flyer prevention importance. I don't play in a ton of wet conditions, and right here it says that's kind of more for wet conditions or experienced flyers frequently, so I'm going to go moderate importance there. All right, so now let's go wedge details. Full wedge spin preference. You know, I kind of like it with a little bit higher spin with my full wedge. Greenside spin, high importance to me. I want it to check. and I'm not a huge fan of it rolling out. Again, firm, fast greens. The greens I play aren't normally fast because I play in on municipal courses and public courses, but they are firm because, again, Texas just tends to dry out, so it will get pretty firm out there. So I like greenside spin. Finishing touches, to be honest, I don't really care how it feels. Medium's probably good. And I want to be matched. I want the best match ball for its price. So, let's kind of go right here. We'll go $2 signs. And because I do like a good value, that's kind of why I got this whole channel. It's why I go to Goodwill. It's why I really like Max Flies and things like that. So, let's see what the results are. 3 best matches. I'm very disappointed to see an Encore Golf in there. Yeah, not a brand I would probably play, just because I don't like some of the things that they do. The whole incident at Augusta, and then to be frank and honest with you, they were kind of dickheads to me at the PGA show and just pawned me off on somebody. And frankly, they've taken a lot of money from people for a smart golf ball that has never been produced. So I'm going to eliminate Encore by myself because I won't want to give them any money. So let's talk about why it was the match, though, and then also look at some of these other matches, which is the Wilson, and it is the Max Fly Tour. All right, so let's take a look at this here. So driver distance, right here, you're looking roughly 2 yards in here, plus or minus 2 yards. So the Triad gives me the ideal driver height, while also being roughly the same. I typically try to go for about 250 on my drives, which is what I like. If I can hit 250, I'm going to be able to play most golf courses out there. So with that, 247.5, only 0.2 of a yard shorter than the Encore, which is nice. So I already like the Wilson more than the Encore, and you lose about a yard with the Max Fly Tour, so that's actually pretty good too. All right, driver height. This was the big thing for the Triad. Gonna be right in between these two, which is really nice. I like that a lot. That's really nice. Driver win score. Whoo, look at that Triad. The Triad. Sorry, I don't know why I called it a Triad. Triad. Okay. 7-iron carry, identical between the Max Fly and the Wilson. Okay, 7-iron carry, about a yard lower with the Encore, which is also interesting. 7-iron workability score. The Wilson has very little, which is actually quite funny. Which means it probably doesn't spin a ton. 7-iron roll. Right there, you are going to see the middle is going to be handled is the Max Fly Tour, which kind of confirms when I've played those in the past. Flyer prevention score, pretty close. Full wedge spin score, I kind of like this right here. Moderately high spin versus high spin, very high spin, greenside spin. That's probably why it's my most recommended because of that greenside spin. You know, the ball that's kind of sitting in the middle here is this Max Fly Tour, so it's pretty interesting there. Let's explore some of our other results here. So, my current ball is the TP5. I'm gonna compare the Triad, the Triad, because it's 3. All right, compared to the TaylorMade TP5, and that TP5 does fly a lot higher, as you can see. But the Wilson is going to go further, okay? Driver flight into the wind. The TaylorMade's going to spin up a little bit, which, you know, kind of makes sense. Spins up, gets knocked down. 7-iron flight. Pretty close to the same. That Wilson's going to fly just a little bit lower. Into the wind. TaylorMade's going to get a little bit higher. It's a little bit more affected by the wind there. Okay. Let's see. Showing 3 of the 5. Okay, it also likes the Q-Star Tour. So, the TaylorMade here, really kind of a low score compared to everything that I saw on the simulator and out on the course. 79%. So, The Q-Star Tour, I kind of liked it in the last video, but it was fine. I didn't think it was this magical golf ball. And to be honest with you, it's probably the furthest flying one by about 3 yards, which is actually kind of funny when you look at it. Driver height here. I mean, the Srixon Q-Star Tour, I'm not really sure how it's not winning here. Q-Star Tour is 88.7, which is a full 2 points lower than the Encore, but it's the furthest with the driver. It's the best in the wind. Carries the furthest with the 7-iron. You can't work it with the 7-iron, which, not bad. 7-iron roll, it rolls a lot. See, we noticed that. It was very low spin. Flyer prevention score because it was low spin. Full wedge spin score, super low, right? Well, which is pretty much what we noticed. Full wedge spin score, super low. Greenside spin, high spin, high spin. Putter feel, it's pretty soft. So, really, in this last video, I wanted to compare our results of using Ballnamic versus what I'm finding out on the course and throughout this month. So, what it seems like we're going to do is we're going to go get a sleeve of the Wilsons. And I'm going to go to Golf Galaxy and see if I can find a sleeve of the Maxfly Tours. And then we're going to try the Q-Star Tours again. All right? So let's try these three, right? The Triad, the Tour, not the X or the S, but the regular Tour, and the Q-Star Tour. And we're going to put it up against the TP5, which was the winner of everything in my in the last month. So let's see how we do, and if we like any of these more than we like the TaylorMade TP5. Last thing. I found this really funny here. So as you can see, we have the Q-Star Tour here versus the TaylorMade TP5, which, great and everything. We know the Srixon is super low spin, so it's going to just go a little bit further. 14 yards further. But this right here is the part that made me laugh. You guys have to see this. 19 yards. 18.5 yard difference. That is an insane... Look at that ball flight. That is hilarious. Now, it is a 30-mile-an-hour headwind, which, don't get me wrong, we get pretty heavy winds here, but that is insane. But 18.5, almost 19 yards is so funny to me. 7-iron, that's fine. 7-iron into the wind, 7 yards. All right, that is a 2-club difference with driver flight into the wind. It's a full club and a half into the with no wind. It's a full club and a half. Okay, so maybe let's try against the Triad. Okay, 12. That's a little better. That's a full club. Oh man, that's so funny to me. 7-iron flight. Actually, TaylorMade's kind of further. Goes further. Into the wind, Wilson by 1.5, by a yard and a quarter. So, I don't know why. I just found that hilarious, guys. So after doing the Ballnamic, I've decided to go with these 4 golf balls for the test. The first one is the one I kind of considered the winner throughout everything, and it is the TaylorMade TP5. The next one was on the list as a more expensive model, one that matches but is an expensive model, and that's going to be the Bridgestone Tour BX. Yeah, let's see how it does. Alright, so one that was what I would consider the winner of the less expensive golf ball that'll fit is going to be the Wilson Triad. I really like, I liked what I saw about this golf ball on the list, but also kind of the promotion that Wilson's been using to promote this golf ball. So let's see how it does. And then one that was on the list of least expensive golf balls, I thought maybe it didn't spin enough, but it was on the list and I had some left over, so I said, you know what? Let's try the Srixon Q-Star Tour. It was the low spin model in my testing, but with it being on that list, let's give it a go as well. and let's complete the 4. So these are the 4. Let's take it out. Let's run it through the test. Let's go to the simulator. Let's head on out to the golf course and the chipping and putting green. Let's go. All right, let's talk wedges. TP5, the Triad, the Q Star Tour, and the Bridgestone Tour BX. Really, it felt like the Q Star Tour just wasn't spinning at all, but looking at the numbers, it's up there. Everything's pretty much the same. I mean, if you can find me a lot of differences here, I'd be shocked. Ball speed, everything's pretty close. Looks like the TP5 is much slower, but launches lower, spins a little bit more. Doesn't carry as far, but really, look at that. Only 1 yard of roll. So going into a green, attacking a green, I actually kind of like it. But everything else, everything's pretty close, man. You know, I like the speed of the Triad, but, you know, that's wedge, so it doesn't really matter. Let's move on to iron numbers here. Ball speed, Triad's the slowest. And, you know, you can see about a 1 mile an hour difference between it and the TP5. Launching it high, all of them pretty high. The Q Star Tour, I haven't had that much fun hitting a golf ball in a while on this. It's just so low spin, it's ridiculous. I mean, 0 side angle though, which is really nice. But it just does not spin. So carry distances, you can see here, Triad, slowest ball speed plus most spin will tend to make you the shortest golf ball. I was leaving some of those outright, so I wonder if I was we're talking, like I said, 1 mile an hour between the 4 of them, so you know you can really boil that down to strike contact. I mean, all the circles are pretty small. You know, you really just boil it down to which one did I hit the center more with this. Now, the fastest ball speed I did get was with the TP5, and that was 110, which was really nice. Everything else was topping out at about 109. Pretty much everything hit that 109, so I wouldn't be too concerned with ball speed here. One thing I do want to look at is the Q Star Tour's descent angle, because if it's descending at a steep enough angle and it's going to land soft enough, which I saw out on the course, but it was a wet day. If it does that, then maybe that extra distance is worth it. So I'm going to check that out, and I will update you guys here in a little bit. Driver numbers here. As you can see, everything's pretty close, within a mile an hour of each other, except for the Q Star Tour. The Q Star Tour, I could definitely tell, was slower. Every ball I hit was slower. I moved to a different ball, and I picked up 3 miles an hour right away per shot. So definitely Q Star Tour is pretty slow off the driver. The fastest being the 2 tour balls, the TP5, the Bridgestone BX, Tour BX. It was the fastest. Second lowest spin. So we're looking between it and the TP5, 1 yard carry distance. The Triad, again, however you say it, was shorter, but really the mile an hour ball speed, you can really, the half a mile an hour ball speed, you can really chalk up to better hits on some of the TP5 and the BX most likely. The spin, a little concerning that it's 100 RPMs more on average, so that's probably leading to some problems there. One thing I do like is the consistency of the TP5. I mean, look at that, your carry distance is 1 yard either way, which is really nice. So you know, my favorite right now is probably the 2 tour balls, but I think the Triad is definitely still in it. The Q Star Tour, with how it performed in the irons, it was pretty low. Spin here as well, so I don't really know if it's gonna move on. We might try it just to try it out on the course again, because I really liked it out on the course. It's so low spin, so it helps with the rain or with the wind. But with it being soft, where I played last week, because it had just rained and it was about to rain a little bit more as well, it did really well on the greens. But I wonder if that's just because the course was soft. So let's take it outside. We'll hit some chips and putts with it and see where we go from here. So, did some chips. And overall, everything's pretty close. But just like we saw on the
simulator, the Q-Star Tour just doesn't spin. The Shrixon, or yeah, that one doesn't spin. The TP5 spins quite a bit. The Bridgestone spins quite a bit. And the Wilson Triad, again, I'll get it right eventually, is a very nice option as well. It doesn't spin as much as those tour balls do, but it does spin more than the Q-Star Tour. I really like it when you consider budget and everything, because it doesn't quite perform quite as well as those tour balls, but it is about 10-15 bucks a dozen cheaper. So it's really good. It's good enough around the greens that I would consider playing it. None of these balls I would eliminate yet. Maybe the Q-Star Tour. Not a big fan of the numbers on the simulator or around the green, but you know, out on the course, it had some really good performance last week. So can't wait to get these out onto the course and see how they do.
First four holes are done with the TP5, and yeah, it's a really good golf ball. No surprises here. Didn't lose any distance with the driver, despite it being the highest spinning ball on the simulator. But what I will say is it did feel a little short with the iron, so we will see how Arcos kind of wears that out and how everything else does. But we are on to the Wilson Triad. Played the 4 with the Wilson Triad again. I don't know how to say it. And really like it off the tee box. It is long and straight. And into greens, I really liked what it did going into greens as well. Held greens, spun really well. Around the greens, I think the TP5 is probably a little better greenside chipping, things like that. But I didn't feel like I lost anything with the Wilson, so so far it's really close to the TP5. The TP5 and it are going head to head. And now we are going to try the Bridgestone Tour BX and see how that goes for us. Played our 4 holes with the Bridgestone, and you know, so far it's probably the best one, just everything being equal. Right now we are playing the Q-Star Tour, so let's see how it goes, and then we will have our nice review afterwards. Let's talk the final results. On the simulator, everything looked really close to one another. I really couldn't pick out a favorite, and I was struggling to figure out who I was going to choose to win this contest. But out on the course, a winner did kind of separate itself. So let's start at number 4. 4th place finisher in ball month testing. Number 4 is going to be, drum roll please, it's going to be the TP5. Frankly, it just spun too much out in the wind. Ballnamic from Ping really said that it was going to struggle in the wind, and I can't say that I saw any different. With the wind at its back, it was actually a pretty good golf ball, but when I was hitting into the wind, it lost significant amounts of yardage and off the driver. And with the wedges, it was, or with the irons into greens, it was decent. It wasn't anything that I was super impressed by. Going back looking at the stats, it was shorter than all the other golf balls. So it's going to finish in 4th place. Number 3 on the list is the Q-Star Tour. Q-Star Tour actually was really good out on the course. I played my best golf with it. I hit 3 out of 4 greens. I was able to really hit the ball further, but the problem was I was getting almost no check into greens, and at that point, if it's not going to spin enough to hold greens or land close to its spot and stay, then I might as well play a non-urethane golf ball and save the money. It wasn't any further off the driver than the next 2 competitors, and I'd rather have the spin around the greens, and I'd rather have the spin going into greens just to hold it, just in case you really get a hold of one. So unfortunately, despite how well I performed with it, I am going to have to put the Q-Star Tour in 3rd place. In 2nd place is going to be the Wilson Triad. Now, the Triad was really good for me. I hit it the furthest of all of them. Now, with the caveat there that I did have the wind at my back for 2 of its holes. But everything else, I really loved this golf ball a lot. Hitting it off the irons, everything just felt solid. It sounded great. It felt great. With the putter, I loved it a lot. But the biggest thing was simply greenside control. The winner beat it. That's just plain and simple. It was... Wilson likes to market this golf ball as a golf ball that's going to help you break 80, and I totally get that. I can see why this golf ball was made. I can see how well Wilson did in making this golf ball. But going up against some of these other golf balls, it just didn't win. I'm not saying it's not a great golf ball. In fact, it's probably going to be the golf ball I play the most because it is lower priced than some of these other options. But the number one winner, the ball that wins ball testing throughout the entire month is the Bridgestone Tour BX. That golf ball was really good. It is the best of every world. It had the distance. It only was short of the Wilson, which was the farthest by 3 or 4 yards. Around the greens, I had more up and downs with the Bridgestone than I did any other golf ball. In fact, I played it with 5 holes because I wanted to give it a little bit more testing. I got up and down on 3 out of the 5. The other 2 I actually hit in regulation, and I think I walked away 1 over, 2 over those holes, and that was simply issues with the putter. So really like this golf ball. I'm really happy that it won, and I cannot wait to use it in a tournament and things like that. This will be my golf ball going forward. Now, to be honest, I have a bunch of golf balls laying around, and I didn't see such a large disparity between some of these golf balls that were in the Final Four and some of these other golf balls, right? The Titleist Tour Speed, great golf ball. The new Kirkland Signature, for 2 dozen for $30, that's probably going to be a golf ball I use quite a bit. I can get 2 dozen for the price of these Bridgestones, plus the Bridgestones add another $10-20. So I totally get using a less expensive golf ball. I will probably be using a less expensive golf ball, but I wanted to do ball month so that you guys have an idea of what all's out there, what separates a good golf ball from a bad golf ball, what is good performance with a golf ball, and with price being no option, the one for me would be the Bridgestone Tour BX. Price being an option, it's probably going to be the Wilson, but the best value in everything I did at the end of the day is probably those Kirkland Signatures. I actually like those quite a bit. But the winner, once again, congratulations to the Bridgestone Tour BX. It's a great golf ball. Highly recommend it. It won. Look, guys, I had a great time going on this adventure trying to find the perfect golf ball for me and helping you learn about what makes a good golf ball overall, right? We talked spin rate, launch conditions, ball speed, all those kind of things. And we saw big discrepancies between some and others. And so really, this was something I wanted to do to help educate you guys so you guys know more about golf balls. So when you walk in, you're not just buying the cheapest golf ball you can find. We're not using some super hots and things like that. The golf ball does matter overall. I personally say any urethane golf ball, they're going to be pretty close. And you really, ball month did kind of show that. So once again, thank you guys for your support. Like and subscribe. I love doing these kinds of videos. I want to keep doing them. Like, subscribe, follow me on all your social media platforms. I'm even on Threads now. So hit me up on any of those. Search the green fee. I'll pop up and hit them straight, guys.